This is the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, with Erolai, Kreese, and Mark, bringing you all your Devo news and talk. Welcome to Season 4, the LGBT era. Now let's start the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 155 of the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, recorded on June 3rd, 2021. I'm your host, Mark, and happy Pride Month to you all. We do consider ourselves allies to the LGBTQIA plus community, and so we hope you are all enjoying, and we know we have many members, including our own Kreese, who are part of that community and working for good things. So, I'm not alone. I am first joined by Arrow. Arrow, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. My life this week has been Saga Frontier 1 remaster, amazing remaster, by the way, and reading a lot, and putting together a filing cabinet today. That's been my week. Back to you, Mark.
And we're also joined by Kreese. Kreese, it's good to have you back.
Hey, I am back this week. This week has been mostly personal stuff for me. Good personal stuff, though, so yay for that. But yeah, I've been pretty busy. Just basically working on just that sort of thing. Nothing really exciting on the gaming front, sadly. Trying to play catch up right now as we record this on some of the challenge quests. I still am behind on Lufenia as is usual. Nothing surprising there.
Well, I want to shout out to ABA Mike 45 and Zamboni Driver 104 for their subs at Tier 1. Again, if you are not following us on Discord, please give us a follow. And if you would like to support the show and everything we do, for 155 weeks of Dissidia podcasting, please feel free to give us a Twitch sub. That is really the way that we, you can financially support us. It's through Twitch subs or through Nitro Boost. That does help our Discord. We have a great Discord, tccpodcast.com. Or you can go to our YouTube, like, sub, and ring the bell there and watch our videos. I've been streaming all week. I streamed 9 Lost Chapter live on Tuesday. I streamed Resident Evil 8 Village last night, and that was terribly horrific. And then tomorrow night, Arrow and I are going to stream I Love You, Colonel Sanders, the KFC dating sim. And so if you thought watching me make fun of Ethan Winters and relentlessly kill zombies that I didn't need to was hilarious, I'm pretty sure us trying to bang Colonel Sanders is going to be even funnier. So that is
good.
That is what the premise is, right? With a knife. Yes. I was killing the zombies with a knife. That's what I had at my disposal. I'd use the bloody stumps in my hand, but that's how we get. There's some news for the day. Not a lot of news. There's been several addressed issues with the maintenance. We know that Sarah LD wasn't working right, Yashtola LD wasn't working right, and Vincent LD animation wasn't working right. All of that has been fixed. Kreese also has in our notes that the 7-star HG armor adjustments encouragement keystone is actually working. Is that correct, Kreese? Or were you just
according to the in-game notifications, they are working now. I do not know if that means they are actually working now, but that's what it says.
So hopefully encouragement keystone armor, which wasn't doing anything in global, is now doing something. And one of these days, if you ever want to blue one of those armors and put those Paladin Cecil Refined Spheres on it, it will actually do something. Of course, right now, you don't really have that option, but in the future, it should work and give you some nice battery. Golbez's Man in Black costume is also available if you're into that kind of thing. I'm not going to buy it unless I get his BT, because his BT is the black dragon, and that goes with the black costume. His EX is the blue dragon, that goes with his normal costume. The LD is like an ice dragon that doesn't really go with anything. So that's my deal with Golbez. If I don't get your BT, man, I'm not buying your costume. sucks to be you. But it's a cool looking costume. I like the look of it at all. So, hey, we do have a couple of, let me do one more announcement. Yeah, Blartanian should have waited. That's the deal. You should have waited. Now you're doomed. You'll never get that PT. Just quit. Quit and start over. What was I going to say? Hey, I should have changed the Q&A. So, if you're watching us live on Twitch, so this is not for your podcast audience or YouTube audience, but if you're with us on Twitch live, you can use your Chocobo points or your channel points to do a instant Q&A. It's 2,200 points. You can do them for other things too. But I had it set so you could only do it once every 24 hours. So I've changed that. So everybody can do it once, up to 10 people per show, once every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, excuse me. So if you use your Q&A points, you can stop the stream. We will immediately answer your question and talk about whatever it is you would like to talk about. If you don't want to use channel points, you can always go to podcast questions on our Discord and let us know what you want to talk about. But what we're going to talk about, unless we're interrupted, is World of Illusions Divine Alexander Blartanian just... Blartanian redeemed his Q&A points. How soon do you expect to regret uncapping this feature?
I'm suspecting it'll be pretty fast.
I'm starting to already, Blart. I'm starting to already. But Blart can only do that once. Now he's locked out until next stream. But nine more people, 9 minutes from now, one more person can do that. So there's a cooldown period. So I think it should work out. So 9 minutes from now, make somebody else try it and see if it works. Because if it's not, then I have to mess with the things again. Hey, what we are going to talk about, besides Blartanian's ridiculous question, is World of Illusions, Divine Alexander, and Nine's Lost Chapter, The Power of Action. So let's start with World of Illusions, Divine Alexander. There were 2 banners on this. The first included Hope's LD, which we already have. Hope did not get anything, I believe. He did not get any upgrade. He already had his LD and his LD boards. If you really wanted Hope, you're new to the game, great, pick him up. If you really needed his role coverage as kind of healer, support, magic damage, imperil, some party defensive auras, buffs, pick him up. But yeah, he's definitely kind of past his prime, that's for sure.
Yep.
But we did get Golbez, LD, and BT. So Kreese is going to walk us through what Golbez got with his LD and BT.
Golbez also got a rework. And the rework's pretty sizable. So Golbez's rework enhanced his skill 1 and skill 2. It folded his generic buffs, his generic attack and max brave buff that he used to get from his skill 1 and skill 2 into a single frame buff called Man in Black Armor, which now applies both of those effects together. The big change that he got is that now his skill 1 and skill 2 at max stacks of Shadow Dragon now deal 3 sets of Brave plus HP dumps. Skill 1 now has an HP splash effect. He has greater overflow on all of his skills. And he just does more damage in general. As long as he's hitting elemental weakness, he's doing a lot more damage in general. If he's not hitting weakness, he's not great, is what I'll say. So that's Golbez in a nutshell. The other thing he got was his LD. His LD is Black Fang. It gives him a new buff, which he starts the combat with. Black Fang, the buff, it increases all HP damage he does, and it also causes him to gain Brave based on his HP damage dealt after all abilities, which basically means that he's in a much safer place. He's much unlikely to get broken. He can just dump HP damage onto enemies with impunity. His skill itself refreshes that buff. It always bumps him back up to 3 stacks of Shadow Dragon. It increases duration of all of his own buffs by 2 additional turns when he uses it. And it's also just a large AoE Brave plus HP dump that he does 4 times. And that's him. So he just hits very, very hard with his skill, with his LD skill. Other than that, it isn't very fancy. He just hits very hard with it. I think his Brave plus plus and HP plus plus are better now too. I do not recall them being this good in the past. If I'm mistaken, someone can correct me. Were his Brave plus plus and HP plus plus improved with this?
They look sizably better than they did before. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So they are better, is what I believe. In this improved form, it's just a lot more brave hits. HP plus is now a double HP dump. And the final thing is his burst effect. Twin Moon Burst is an AoE Brave plus HP dump. And the burst effect is a 4-turn effect that increases all Brave damage, increases Brave damage limit, and increases Brave overflow, normal effects. The big thing that happens is that it freezes all enemies Brave for the duration of the burst effect. Basically, all enemies have such a freeze effect for 4 turns of Golbez's action. That's his major effect. And that's it. He's basically a lot stronger now. However, Golbez's major kicker is that he has to be hitting elemental weakness in order to do all that damage. If he's not hitting weakness, his damage falls very, very, very fast. The other thing I forgot to mention is that Shadow Dragon does have a new effect on it. It has 2 new effects on it. I forgot to mention those effects. Thank you, someone, for mentioning it to me. No. Shadow Dragon, now at 3 stacks, reduces all Brave and HP damage that Golbez takes, number 1. It also has a Brave Steel effect that increases the Brave, that causes Golbez to gain more Brave when he hits elemental weakness, on top of the Brave damage increase he already has when he's hitting elemental weakness. Golbez does a lot of damage. He gains a lot of Brave. He dumps a lot of Brave. He does a lot of HP damage as long as he's hitting elemental weakness. If he cannot hit elemental weakness, his damage falls like a rock. And I mean hard. He is dependent upon getting that shadow resist down. He is dependent upon hitting that shadow resist or that shadow weakness. If he cannot hit it, he is a lot weaker than other damage dealers, and that is his primary role in the party still. Even though he is very tanky, as people are mentioning in chat, he's still a damage dealer first. I have his LD. He hits very hard against weak, shadow weak enemies, but keep in mind that it is shadow weak enemies. You take him out of that situation, and you got to make sure you can apply that shadow weakness debuff first. Otherwise, he is not as impressive as someone like Golbez. So be cautious. Arrow, what are your thoughts on Golbez?
He's good for this cycle. These challenge quests suck butt without him, and they become much easier with him. But I don't have his kit. He does hit hard. I've used friend unit ones, but honestly, I feel like there's been other better damage dealers recently, and it's just they aren't tied to elements the way Golbez is, and I'm not really sure how much people will be using him after this. I think there's going to be a couple of darkness absorb fights coming up for a little bit. So personally for me, I never really liked Golbez's kit. This hasn't really changed my mind. Sorry. That's pretty much all I've got that hasn't been said yet.
Thank you, Dystopia Bard, for the jazz trivia in Twitch chat there. Yeah, Golbez. So here's the thing: if you bring Celeste Call on him, he's a tank because he has all that damage reduction. So that's fun. You can play him as a tank. The problem with Golbez is he's a little bit underwhelming compared to the last 2 LDBT damage dealers we got. And here's what I mean by that he's doing good damage. Yes, he needs to have his debuff up, so if there's debuff issues, debuff immunity, that really sucks. But he's not the crazy consecutive turns that Terra gets, and he doesn't have the crazy utility that Golbez has with the delaying, with the invisible debuffs, with the, amazing burst phase. I mean, Golbez does have the Brave Freeze burst phase, which can be useful situationally. I mean, you can also just bring a call ability and do the same thing, so it's not particularly exciting. If Golbez was not 2-week synergy on a couple of really crappy fights, including a couple really tanky CQs, challenge quests, I think he would be 1,000% skippable. I don't think we'd even be talking about him and giving him any time of day. I think everybody'd be like, oh yeah, Golbez, he kind of sucks. Wait for Tifa. Like if he was just on a event banner, like if it was the Golbez event banner and it was his LD, we wouldn't be talking about him at all. The only reason you would want to pull, and I in my video, if you check out my tier list, I said tickets because he's really nice to have. He's not necessary. You can do it without Golbez, the CQs, and the Lufanias. He makes it a lot easier if you do have him. If you did pick up his burst, even easier, obviously. And so I do think he's worth tickets there. But yeah, Golbez is not a thing. So yes, Predator 504, 501. Did I say Golbez, Garland? Garland was last week or last month. That's who I was talking about. Garland is good. Golbez, not so much. Golbez is who we're talking about right now. So not Swolbez anymore. Yeah, so the old joke about Swolbez, because when in his EX era, he was doing, and I did confirm, yes, his HP and Brave Plus did change for the better. So yeah, in the EX era, he was doing pretty good damage, with the double dumps and triple dumps, but he's doing good damage. He's still a good damage dealer, but as Arrow said, I don't think you're going to bring him around much out of this cycle. Yeah, there's going to be some dark resist fights, but at the end of the day, that's going to disappear. But are you going to pick him over? Are you going to pick Golbez over Garland? Are you going to pick Golbez over Terra? Are you going to pick Golbez over Tifa? Those are the other contemporary damage dealers we're dealing with, all of whom can be enchanted with any element you need, but aren't tied to an element. So if you haven't decided whether to pull, and you've beaten both of these CQs and both these Lufanias, I wouldn't pull at all. If you're struggling with these CQs and Lufanias, maybe throw some tickets if you're capped on tickets because of the Divine Alexander grind. But Kreese, any other kind of closing thoughts on Golbez?
I just feel like we just got Garland, who does similar single target damage. So Golbez's niche is that he does a lot more group damage.
Split damage, yep.
Yeah, he does a lot more split damage.
Yeah, he doesn't do full damage except on his BT, which kind of sucks, but
he does a lot of split damage. However, as I mentioned before, he's very, very dependent upon hitting that weakness.
Yeah. And again, if you're searching for a damage dealer and you didn't pick up Garland or Terra for some reason, we're 2 weeks away from Tifa. So so really the only reason to pick up Golbez is, of course, if you like him, he's a favorite character. He looks really cool. Or if you really need his help for the CQs or the Lufanias. So Taco is saying pretty similar to Garland in terms of self-sufficiency. Both are buff-friendly, but damage potential is theoretically higher with the blue armor. Yes, so yeah. Golbez is the first character we get with the blue armor, so you can realize his high armor and then invest ingots into it. I would not suggest doing that at all for any reason, because you're all going to pull on Tifa because we all know Tifa's bonkers broken. So blue armor Tifa as your damage dealer for a while and be done with it. So, but yeah, Excalibur's, Garland's bringing the delay. Garland's bringing that burst. If you have Garland's burst, his burst thing is amazing. His burst phase, not his burst phase, but his burst effect is broken. And we know his BT plus comes back and it's as good as well. So, all right. Well, let's talk about the Divine Board grind. As you are aware, this is our third Divine Board, right? Or is this our second? This is our third Divine Board. And so the Divine Boards allow you to level your summon creature from 30 to 40. So Divine Alexander is now level, or the Summon Alexander can now be level 40. Gives a burst heal when you actually summon, gives a little bit better HP regen. So that is a really great healing option if you're running a no healing team and you need some extra help with calls. You can use your healing calls, but you can also bring Alexander at level 40. Yes, Bartz is not a damage dealer. Valerius is saying, what about Bartz? Bartz is not a damage dealer. If you're bringing Bartz for damage, you will be sorely disappointed. But for blue armor, yeah, he's a good blue armor candidate. I don't necessarily think you need his blue armor immediately. Maybe when he comes back with BT plus, you can grab his blue armor. For my suggestion for now is blue armor Tifa this month, and that's it. And then build up some for favorites moving forward. But yeah, so I'm all done with my Divine grind. Inkwelder ran the numbers, TonberryTroupe.com. Of course, you can check out all the infographics at our friends, the Tonberry Troupe. But Inkwelder ran all the thing, and I think Jin Lee has a little video on YouTube as well. I think you can use a full synergy team. Remember, Vivi is synergy, and we did get early Vivi LD. So you can use Vivi, you can use Golbez, you can use Hope, you can use Shadow, you can use Laguna. There's somebody else on this cycle. Who else is on this cycle?
Thancred.
Who?
Thancred.
Thancred.
The poison
Yeah.
man.
Don't use Thancred. He's worthless here.
I mean, his poison's knocked off so frequently he can't take advantage of it.
Yeah, so don't use him. But for your auto battling, obviously if you have any combination, if you have Golbez, if you have Vivi, but you can mix just two of those characters and Terra burns through it so quickly, it's actually potentially more efficient to bring Terra and two synergy characters than to bring three crappy synergy characters. So don't be afraid to bring one really powerful non-synergy character to make your runs go faster, because it will take more runs, but you'll be able to do it quicker. I used Golbez, Shadow, and Hope, Arrow, and I'm done. I'm completely done. Arrow, how did you approach your boards? Are you still working on them?
I got like 5 levels left. I've been, I could have done the auto thing already and been done, but I've just been a little lazy. I did the Terra thing. I used Vivi and Shadow as my other two. I actually purpled Shadow for this because of that. And it's like, we have so many ingots. It's cool. He'll be back for a couple more challenge quests, I'm sure, and that's fine. So, that was it. I'm still working on it. I'll be done very soon though. And I found the farming as chill as usual. I read books. I watch TV when I let it auto grind. So, that's the best way to do it. If you have the team set up to do it. That's all I got for the farming portion of this.
Oh, Pikachu.
I'm done farming Alexander,
Ooh,
by the way. I was actually ahead of the game because auto farm.
Yeah, it's nice.
I realized that if I was to do this manually, it was going to be god awful because each run was about 2.5 minutes in length. So I just turned on auto farm and would do something else, and then would peek over at my phone and see when it was done.
Pikachu Game says, make blue armor so you don't have to give EX weapons any ingots. Pikachu, you have a disease, and you need to seek help. Call 1-800-HOARDERS. That's 1-800-HOARDERS, and they can hook you up with some hoarding counseling. Spend your damn ingots. Oh, that's too funny. Retro Gamer Dad did ask, is there a preferred category of armor to realize. There's some great videos on high armor we've talked about in previous shows. I think our show last week, we kind of talked about the high armor and shouted out a few videos that were really good on the topic. I believe Black Nero has one and John Belmont. But to give you the kind of my opinion on the high armor, you should use it for your favorites, and you should use it for right now just the big damage dealers, maybe LDBT characters. So PoteauCedar, the TCC intern, has a fun little YouTube video. Check that out on things. So check that out. That video's fun. Well, the two events we're talking about tonight both have difficult challenge quests. Why are they difficult? Because they're a little bit more mechanical than some of our other challenge quests, even though they're chaos fights. Perhaps limited roster selection for some people, and they're pretty tanky. So Divine Alexander challenge quest is the chaos fight. You can't cheese it. We're going to talk about the Lufania, which you can cheese. And so I'm sure a lot of people are struggling with the CQ even more so than the Lufania because you can't just cheese it. And your options are 6. You have 6 characters. They are Golbez, Hope, Shadow, Laguna, Thancred, and Vivi. So as we said, Thancred's kind of a no-go. I'm sure there are runs with Thancred. You can go to the Call to Arms. Our friend Macknell at DissidiaInfo, DissidiaInfo.com, Call to Arms, and figure that out. But that was weird. The problem with Thancred is, of course, he loses his debuffs all the time. Hope is very good there because he does provide some healing and some support, some protection. Golbez is actually, obviously, if you picked him up, really, really good. A lot of people are struggling with Vivi in both the Lufania and the CQ because Divine Alexander is doing a lot of HP damage, a lot of AoE HP damage, and it's tough if you don't time it right, and you get broken and you die. You can't bring Vivi. So you really have to be careful about when you hit that LD button. My suggestion, if you're bringing Vivi, is wait till after the big recast ability, the flashing AoE attack, the flashing all attack, then do the LD, and do a lot of damage, then come back. So I was going to look. Scott, who works with Scott Ong, who works with Macknell on Dissidia Info, says Divine Wrath needs HP to be maxed to avoid delay. We will talk about the actual mechanics here in a second. But looking on the Call to Arms, again, DissidiaInfo.com, hope. There's no runs without hope. So there are no runs without hope LD. So here's the good news. It's just a challenge quest. You can beat it without the full synergy team, and I think you can get your token, correct? Without beating it with, you can beat it with a non-synergy team and get your token. Is that correct?
You have to use a full synergy team, but you can get some gems just by clearing it with any team. So at least do that if you can't beat it with like the synergy characters or you don't have the synergy characters.
But yeah, this is Divine TCC Alex challenge is to beat it without hope. Yes, Pikachu, that is exactly what we just said. Now, I would assume it's potential. I mean, it should be possible. If you have Golbez with his BT and VV, you're just going to have to be very careful and aggressive. I don't. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Somebody did use Thancred, so God bless them. Laguna might be, his debuffs are able to do something, but it's a tough challenge quest, especially if you don't have hope, especially if you don't have Golbez. it can be a really, really pain in the butt. I used Golbez, Hope. I don't have his whatchamacallit, BT, and Laguna. I used Laguna. Arrow, how did you approach this? You don't have Golbez, right?
I don't have Golbez, and I am still trying to do the CQ. I haven't put a lot of time into the game this week because I've been prioritizing other things. But I'm going to try to win with VV, my EX Hope, and what is it called? Shadow. Yeah, I'm just going to rely on healing calls probably a lot, and a Jack call to help me break Alexander one time somewhere in there. About all I can do.
Okay, we got a challenge from Dystopia Bard from Dystopia. You can check out their YouTube channel. Yeah, so the Dystopia and TCC challenge for the Divine Alexander CQ is no hope. Let's see if somebody can do no hope. Yeah, see how that works. No hope. No hope. There is no hope. Well, let's talk about the Lufania fight, which is a little bit easier because you can cheese it. Again, you fight Divine Alexander. He gets an orb that is, that ticks up with dark damage dealt. Excuse me. He has a lot of HP. He absorbs holy. He's regularly immune to dark damage. He is immune to lock, freeze, defense down, break. So he can't be instant broke. He's immune to the status break, so instant break. Status reels, so screw Waka. Immune to launches and immune to delay. That's a lot. If it wasn't a lot, he also has a counter that sets your brave to 0 if you are all at max brave. So you have to be careful which calls and which characters you bring, because if you bring party batteries, he will immediately set your brave to 0. He gets a horrible yellow aura if you take 8 actions in a row. So watch out, Terra. If you take 8 actions in a row, he basically becomes almost immune to damage. So you do 1 brave damage, no HP damage. What else? He triggers this ability to, if he hits you with the recast and you're broken, I think you get hit with the Divine Shackles, which is Confusion and Blind. So that's a pain in the ass. Be careful. And then he gets this ability where he gives himself shields 3 times in a row that have to be broken. And that's one of the reasons the challenge quest gets so hard too, is you have to... Gon says, Waka is OP. Waka is OP. So he gets these shields, and you have to break the shields 3 times in a row, or he does a big, scary attack that you don't want to take. So the easiest way to deal with this is the interaction that happens with Gladiolus and him. If you can put Gladio on a team, and there's some debuff manipulation. Jin Lee has a video on this. I think Arrow has a video on this. She can talk about here in a second. But if you manipulate your max brave so that every time Gladio counters, he goes max brave and then gets attacked, and then he'll counter, you can basically do this loop where Gladio just kills Alexander. So Gladio counters, Alexander counters, Gladio counters, Alexander counters, etc. But it does take a little bit of setup. So watch Arrow's video, watch Jin Lee's video. I think Macnell has a full walkthrough on DissidiaFFOO.com. I don't know if Scott did that or somebody else. So you can check. DD Rock sometimes does those. I did not use Gladiolus because I'm not a chicken, and so I did 9LC live on Twitch. That shows you what I think. No, I used Golbez, Garland. I used Golbez and Garland, and Aerith. Aerith is very, very helpful for this fight. So you are able to do it. It wasn't terrible, in my opinion. I would have rather just done it like I did it than have to go through all the setup with Gladiolus, but you definitely need the dark damage. And so your basic dark damage dealers are Golbez, Zande. Zande can do it. Vivi. Shantoto is an option. I don't know that I've seen Shantoto runs. Maybe it's on there. I guess I can look and see if there's a Shantoto run there as well. I don't see a Shantoto run.
I mean, the tricky thing is that not everything Shantoto does is dark damage.
Yeah, but definitely there are definitely Zande runs. There are definitely Vivi runs. You just have to be careful with Vivi. You can't just lay on the LD the entire time. You have to know when to hit the LD and when not to. But obviously Golbez is doing constant dark damage, and so he is a great version of that. Garland, because of his burst effect, really, really helps. Terra, Arnea, Squall are other options there. Now we have 9. 9 is a pretty good option. I think Warrior of Light can be doing this as well. I'm not sure that you can you do the Terra Yang combo on this? I'm not sure that you can Terra Yang on this because you need some dark damage. So you have to.
Someday you could. I guess you'd have to make sure you never really let him do much, though.
I don't see a Terra Yang clear on this.
Really? No Zande. Nobody got Zande to try that out? Because I would imagine that's probably the safest way to do it.
But there are, Bosch can come in handy here. There's some different ways around it. So there's lots of different clears. So he becomes invincible. Yeah, we already said that. So that's why you don't want to just use Yang because of the invincibility. Yeah. But you could get around that potentially. You could use the combo. But does that count as does the counter attack count as its own action? I don't know I don't know that works. Either way, there's no Yang clears. I used Golbez, Aerith, and Garland. That seemed to work fine. The first time I ran it, it took 82 turns. The turn limit is 80. So then I went back and I did it again. I don't know what I don't think I bursted soon enough, so I bursted much earlier, and then I was able to come back and do it much easier in 68 turns. And I was going to see if there's any special call abilities that I used to help in this particular fight. So, no, not at all. Not at all. I used Camelot, Amitatillion, and Jack. So, Arrow, why don't you talk about Gladio and how you approached it?
There's a lot of ways to approach the Gladio cheese, which is in further detail at the Dissidia info guide. I did make a link in the chat about that. But the main thing is you need to stack a whole bunch of HP damage up and Brave damage up so that when Gladio basically does the counter, he's going to fill up the other two party members' Brave. The easiest way to do that is for, the other party members to basically have no Brave. And also if you're using a main team Gladio, make sure his Brave is kind of low too. I used a friend one, and I don't think anybody was removing Brave passives. So I guess whatever I did was more than enough to fill up the Brave. So the idea is you stack all these calls and your HP damage up characters and all that. Your Pestle or your Sarah, your Aerith, whatever. Your Dark Knight Cecil even works here. And then you swap out for Gladio is what I did. I swapped Cecil out with Gladio. And then triggered his LB. And after that, everybody's Brave was full. And the boss started triggering the what is it called? The sacred, the sacred guard or something like that. I don't remember. But he starts triggering that. And the boss, for some reason, will never get out of this loop. I found this hilarious. This was a hilarious oversight, honestly. And he doesn't ever trigger the orb. He doesn't bring it up. He's just stuck in this loop. And yet I still find it funny that they hit all the other characters that have Brave gain. So they hit Waka, they hit Arciella, and they hit, Setzer's Freeze Joker and went, haha, we've got you guys. Have fun dealing with this fight. So I just can't get over the fact this oversight happened. And
there's ways they could have probably fixed that, but they didn't do it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's intended or if it was just an oversight and then they didn't patch it or whatever, ever. So that's how I did it. I stacked a bunch of HP damage up and Brave damage up calls and then let Gladio friend have at it. It can be a 3-turn one, guys. It doesn't matter. Just find the Gladio. And if you are missing a Gladio on your friends list, just ask around in our lovely community because somebody will definitely set you a Gladio.
Yeah, it is important to note that you don't have to have Gladio to do this. You can actually have a friend Gladio come in and do this. So potentially, even if Lufania has kind of been above you and a little bit unreachable for you, this is one that you might be able to figure out with a Gladiolus friend, depending on who else you have on your team that can make that happen with some extra support and auras. So, yeah. Kreese, anything to add about these fights?
Sadly, I have not gone to Lufenia yet, so I don't have much to say. I just know the chaos was annoying, so I'm not really looking forward to the Lufenia.
Yeah. Well, if you're still struggling with these fights, again, if people want to try a no-hope run, we would love to shout that out next week or 2 weeks from now, I guess, or we'll just share it on our social media and tag me on Twitter or Facebook or in Discord, and we'll share your video. If you can do a CQ without hope for Divine Alexander, that would be very, very good. And if you're struggling, come on our Discord, tccpodcast.com. Again, take some time, like us, and sub and support the channel. All the different channels you can. Well, let's move from World of Illusions Divine Alexander to 9's Lost Chapter, The Power of Action. 9 did get upgrade to his LD boards. We already had 9's LD. Now we're back in the kind of recycling event characters who got their LDs now are coming back. So, Kreese, did you want to tell us a little bit about what 9 got?
Yeah, so the big thing that happened is that because of the LD board changes, or because of the LD board that 9 received, he's received a pretty substantial change to the way his buffs work. His basically auras are a lot better. I think the way White Knight works is slightly different now. I might need a little bit of clarification on that. His LD ability is better. In general, he's just a lot better in general. So, changes. White Knight now recovers the use of Primal Roar, his skill 1 when it's used. It batteries the party more, and it has an overflow on the battery. It has a longer duration on White Knight when it's applied. It also raises him to Wild Roar 5 when it's applied. The Wild Roar buff now has new effects. So at 5 stacks, it increases his attack, max brave, speed, brave damage dealt, and critical damage dealt. It also raises party attack, stolen party overflow, and party brave damage taken. Along with that, instead of White Knight just raising attack and max brave, or attack and stolen overflow, it now also raises max brave. And Rebellious Fang now also raises max brave, brave damage dealt, and critical hit rate for 9. So that's a pretty sizable improvement. And these, sorry, it wasn't just for 9, it's for the party, I believe, right? Yeah, because those are buffs for the whole party.
Yeah.
So in total, 9 now applies up to a 115% attack bonus, and up to 90% max brave bonus, 30% brave damage dealt, 40% brave damage taken, up to 50% stolen brave overflow, 100% crit rate, 10% HP, and 10% defense.
Mino,
it's a pretty sizable boost.
Mino's
to his
sorry,
is 9.
Chris. Yeah. Yes. Mino Spellgood has a question. Is 9? Yes, 9 is. Yes.
I don't know what is 9 means.
No, well,
That's
I
not a
mean, it's
question.
just a question of being. Is 9? That is a question. Is 9? Yes, 9 is. That's who we're talking about. He is a character from Final Fantasy Type 0. So good job. Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
These changes also obviously improve his own base stats sufficiently so that his attack's better, which means his shields are better from Primal Roar and Wild Guard. Keep that in mind too. Because remember, his shields are based on the damage dealt. The HP damage he deals with Primal Roar. So his shields will be better too through all of this.
Great. Arrow, what are your takes on 9?
Awesome with these boards. So one of the things I noticed, okay, so guys, with White Knight before, it literally would only block 1 HP attack. So let's say the enemy does like 2 HP attacks, some of those attacks, like, I don't know, in his last chapter, he would literally only prevent 1 of those HP dumps from hitting you. The second one would hit you. That is stopped now. He blocks all attacks for that one, I guess, action from the boss. Is the simplest way I can put it. This is a huge boon. It was the first thing I absolutely did notice. They really loaded this buff for him for the Rebellious Fang. And I love it. He is so good. And guys, he has Unity armor. I think I said that before. He has Unity armor. And that's awesome. I already booked that armor. I'm waiting for Palom and Bart's to get more ingots because I'm going all the way with this. I've had a blast playing 9 all over again. I played him in his old form. He was pretty good, but he stands a lot better now on his own as like, I guess, like a party, brave damage reduction guy. Before you wanted to combine him with others like Desh and Rude, and now you don't feel that need so bad.
Yoshi Pasta says LD before the boards did block double HP dumps.
I don't remember it doing that, but it might have. But
didn't have ZLD, so I don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember it doing that. But anyway, so I was gonna get back to it. It's super good. In this, the thing is with this kind of character, this LD is on demand 4 times in a fight. So as long as he can take the turn before the HP dump is coming, you are good to go. So this is what he's good at, is you can plan around it a lot easier than, say, like Beatrix's Paladin's Protection, who, she's a lot slower, I feel like, than 9 is, A. And B, you got to actually get, you got to cast the EX first, and then she's got to get another turn, and then she can use Paladin's Protection. So that can be kind of tricky sometimes. You have other characters who, of course, can block HP attacks, but 9 guarantees it pretty much no matter what, as long as that buff is up. That's cool. He doesn't eat up debuff slots because he doesn't have a target lock. Some people don't like that, but honestly, because now he reduces brave damage, he's a lot easier to play. He still excels very well at doing like damage. He's really good in like AoE situations. He's kind of like one of the hardest hitting tanks we're going to have. And that still holds true. And I really have had a lot of fun with him. I'm glad he got something. This is not a Desh situation. Desh really disappointed me with what he got with boards, but I have no regrets with 9 getting those boards at all. They're really fun. And a lot of the little fixes here and there. Oh yeah, that's a good point. They did fix the 9 shields. Thank you, Scott Ong. They did address the shields thing. So he will always refresh the shields now, I think, in their value. And I did not call 9 a tank, but I guess
you did. You did literally call him a tank.
I really think he is one,
you
though.
You did actually call him a tank. Yes.
He is officially one. He just doesn't do it in, I guess, the standard lock and then take all the hits for you way.
He is mitigating brave and HP damage, which, if that is what a tank is, I mean, if you define a tank as anyone who mitigates damage, then right. 9 is a tank, but by that definition, as Mino says, Hope is also a tank, Kamari is a tank, anyone who mitigates brave HP damage.
I don't know, he has like the shields and stuff, so I don't know. I just don't feel like, I feel like he's more of a tank than and he's really hard hitting, so I don't know.
He's more of a tank than Golbez.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Who is also a tank.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like he takes the pressure off of your your team with his brave damage reduction.
Hey, listen, chat. There are no freaking roles in Defo. It's all made up. Every character is an individual.
Yeah, I agree with Mark.
Go lose your shit somewhere else. Go post on Reddit about it. There are no tanks in Default. There's no classes in Default. There are weapon types. There are crystal colors. That's it. But yes, he is not a tank who does locking mechanics. According to Tonberry Troupe, he is a brave HP damage mitigator, support healer, ranged attacker. There we go. He's an ACD. That's as close to roll as we have. He is ACD.
He's pretty good, guys. I don't know, man. I know. I'm glad I pulled on him on initial release. He helps me out a lot. I'm sure he's going to do me some good work going ahead. And depending on your playstyle, he will do a lot for you. Ooh, and Final Asim is asking, would we recommend 9 for a new player? Yeah, but I mean, but I'm gonna give a but. I think he's great. He's a lot simpler to play now, as long as you know when the HP attacks are coming. But Wall, I think, is coming back fairly soonish. Is that next month? I can't remember. I think it's next month.
Remember.
And I find Wall to be like the ultimate easy man's beginner character. Like
if you are pulling on Bart's because you have been sold on Bart's auras are so awesome, then you need to reevaluate your life decisions because arguably 9's support is stronger than Bart's support. 9's auras are very, very good. Plus, he's providing some damage mitigation. Plus, he's providing some healer. 9 is a very underrated character. Yes, as Mino says, 9 does need to predict the HP attacks if you want to make the most use of his LD ability, where Bart's is just press buttons. Like Bart's is total stupid. Also, Bart's has an amazing BT effect, and so if you really want, I mean, here's the thing, and I think BC's talked about it on the Ranting Hour, and Inkwelder's talked about it on the Ranting Hour as well on Black Nero's channel. If you really want Bart, you're going to need his BT. I mean, that's full stop. If you don't want to chase Bart's BT, 9 is probably a better LD option than Bart's LD. Now, Bart's is 2 weeks synergy, so he's going to help with that, but that 2 weeks synergy I think is a little bit easier than this 2 weeks synergy. So moving forward, 9 is really an underrated character. Yeah, and as J.A says, our wonderful moderator, if you really want Bart, you need Fujin LT. That's a lot you need. So you need you need his LD, that's 75,000, and you need his BT, that's 125 on top of that, so that's 200,000. No free pulls this month, people. And you need Fujin's call, so that's 275,000 gems versus 9's 75,000. So I mean, cost benefit. But 9 is awesome. I got him. I still don't know how to play him. You can watch me on stream, on the video, on the VOD, trying to figure out, because I pulled after I did the Lufania. I did the Lufania first, and I went back and pulled, and then did the CQ with 9, and then went back and pulled and got Fujin. So I didn't use Fujin. But so I don't really know how to play him, but he does seem very, very useful. And I think he's very underrated. So don't look what you're missing, and you might like him as well. Sorry, Kreese. Any follow up thoughts or final thoughts on 9?
Not really. I've been fascinated by his kits with the LD board. I've been liking what I've seen so far. I haven't had a lot of time to play with it yet, but I look forward to experimenting more.
All right. Well, if you think Bart's is a tank, give us a sub, and I'll say for every sub I'll say Bart's is a tank. Sure, why not? If you sub to the channel, I'll say whoever you want is a tank. Let me put it that way. So throw a sub and then tell me a character, and we'll call that character a tank on stream. How about that? How do you like that? Is that a good investment of your money? You tell me. But hey, there's a new character, a new LD. And that's Fujin, and as we know, yes, for a sub to the channel, TCC will endorse anyone as a tank, and we'll come up for a way to justify it as well. Hey Taz, thank you for the subscription, appreciate that. Say Prish is a tank. Prish is a tank because she does damage with her fists. So, and the more damage you do, the less enemies can hit you. So there you go. We all know that the new LD on the banner, which is Fujin, and is traditionally the better LD. So, Kreese, what does Fujin's LD do? It must do a lot of awesome things if it's going to be better than 9.
Yeah, sure. It does great things. Okay. So it's a AoE Brave plus split HP attack that's executed twice. It applies wind resist down to all targets, and it gives her a new buff called Gust. That buff raises party attack, raises overflow on both Stolen Brave and Gain Brave by 20%, and it batteries allies by 30% of max Brave when Fujin hits weakness. So that's what she got. Otherwise, her kit was unchanged. It's a nice buff. Satsu, the LD, only has 3 uses. Gusts last 12 turns. However, remember that her skill 1 has high turn rate. She can burn turns very fast if she's not careful. Her additional ability is very good, so she wants to use it strategically when she can. It's okay. It's not great. It's definitely not amazing. I'm not thrilled by it. I did not pull for it particularly. I did not get it, and I'm not feeling like I missed anything by missing it. And I guess that's what I have to say. Arrow, did you pull for it?
I tried with some tickets and did not get it. I wanted the meme Jen herself, but I did not get it. I instead did use her though for the Lufinia, and she is viable there, so that's something at least. It's a shame. I really wish she got more because she was kind of strong. I just feel like if you're not going to give these characters a rework, like, and they're getting an LD, they need to get a loaded LD. You know, like 7 got. At least 7 got a loaded LD. And, you know, she can sit there and really assist your party. It just feels like Fujin didn't get much utility or something with this LD. And that's really depressing. That's really the most depressing part about it, is that she didn't get much and she could have gotten a lot more. That's pretty much my thoughts. I'm going to pass it back over.
Yeah, so Preesh is a tank because if you bring, or you can't equip a call. I was going to say if you equip a tank call on her, a lock call, then the boss would attack her and kill her, and then you'd only have 2 characters to worry about using. And so that's helpful. like Preesh is doing nothing in a fight these days. So. Oh, that's a tough one. That was a good challenge. I definitely need some more time. Taz says Priest is a tank because she tanks your team's score because she sucks.
I'm trying to think what's positive about Fujin. She is still the wind enchanter, so she does help with that. She has multiple sources of wind resist down, skill 2, EX, and now LD. So she has it's generic, but she has multiple ways to maintain that. Her wind enchant is through her framed buff, which she keeps up 100% of the time. She batteries allies with Brave Plus and HP Plus. She batteries now with Gusts. She batteries with EX. So she has a good amount of ally battery now with her kit.
Yeah, so Fujin does suck, and she could be arguably the worst LD character we have in the cycles as they come. I mean, it's hard to compare a LD character now with an LD character 10 months ago or a year ago, but she didn't get a lot more. That's the problem. You know, we get some LDs and some LD boards that seem to give the character a whole bunch of crap. Fujin just didn't get a lot. She just could have used more. And much like Sarah, you know, if we didn't get Sarah's LD boards early, Sarah wasn't getting a lot, and she needed a little bit more. Fujin's usable. You can definitely use her in a launch team. You can use her with Cloud and Kais especially, fine. Probably in a lot of content. You can use her with other delayers. But at the end of the day, she's very underwhelming. I do have her. I've not even used her in any content. That's how underwhelming she is. Not the hard content. I've used her in regular content. The selling point people have said online. Aeonis, sure. If you want us to, that's whatever. We'll do whatever you want for money. We're like dancing monkeys.
I think that's Mark specifically.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'll tell you whatever anime you like is great, and everyone should watch it. That's fine. I don't have.
It's
any,
Husbando specifically,
I don't
not
have,
the anime.
I don't have any ethics when it comes to this stuff. Fujin's rough. The thing that she has been sold on is as a call for Bart's. Now the problem is, Bart's will eventually get Wind Enchant for the entire party on his BT plus. He probably doesn't need much more than the 3 turns that he can get with her regular call. Her regular call ability gives the party enchant for 3 turns, Wind Enchant. Her LD call does give it for 6 turns. So her as a call is enchanting your party for 9 turns. That's pretty good, especially with a slow character like Yang, who you want to be pushed back anyway to do his counters. Yang can now enchant the party for 9 turns. That's a lot, right? So her call isn't terrible. It's definitely not something you need for Bart's. It's something you can use, but it's not something you should probably be spending 75,000 gems on. I like Fujin. I always think it's nice to have Enchant Imperil just in the deck, and a call ability that enchants, that's cool, and Imperil's cool. But yeah, she's underwhelming, and she needed more. If she would have gotten some healing, if she would have gotten some more launches, if she would have gotten a rework, if she would have gotten more auras, more party support, anything. I mean, she just needed something, and she didn't get it. So, what if you have no enchanters for the time being and skipped Iggy? You should have pulled for Iggy if you had no enchanters. That's Yoshi Pasta. That's the moral of the story. You shouldn't have skipped Iggy if you didn't have any. Fujin's orb is good. If you don't have any enchanters, maybe, I guess, I'd throw some tickets on her. We are how far are we from another enchanter? It's going to be
ways away.
Yeah, it's going to be a while. So
Celeste LD comes back, and Kryl LD comes back, and it looks like a month and a half.
But do you really need it?
Ash.
I mean, again,
Ash
do you
is coming
really
back.
need
And then
it?
Kurasame comes back.
Guys, J.A said Ash. That's a pretty good point. And that's next month, I think.
Ash is an
coming.
enchanter.
Yeah, she is. She's going to be a holy
Okay.
and lightning enchanter.
Holy
Gotcha. I didn't know that.
Yep. Yeah, and it's always tough because as a brand new player, what do you really need, right? You need a couple characters who can do a lot of damage and get you through characters. So, yeah, Celeste is not an enchanter.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Celeste is not an enchanter. Wait,
Celeste.
she self-enchants. She self-enchants.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, brain. Wait, no, she party ice enchants.
She party ice enchants
Yeah,
now.
I'm pretty sure Celeste enchants the party.
Yeah, she's a party enchanter.
I'll double check.
Yeah, she is. I'm looking at the infographic. I was just double checked.
She enchants the party with ice. Yeah, that was her rework. Yep. I wanted to double check before because I was pretty sure she did do that, but yeah, she does. All right, well, let's talk. So, good luck. Hopefully your polls went well. I was able to get, I did not share a poll video because I didn't record, but I was able to get both of them on 390 tickets. So that's a lot of tickets, but I was capped. So there you go. Again, this CQ is challenging, as many of the Lost Chapter CQs are, because you only have a couple of options. And the options are Golbez, Fujin, 9, and Barrett. Barrett is level 70, so he's not even level 80, doesn't get a call ability. That can really hurt him. And maybe you didn't pull on 9, maybe you didn't pull on Fujin, and so without 9 LD and Fujin LD, it can be rough, but it can be done. I think if you look at the call to arms, there are some budget teams. Golbez, Fujin, 9 budget versions, definitely, but it can be a tough one if you don't have those characters. Obviously, if you have 9 LD, you should be fine. If you have Golbez's burst, you should be fine. You can bring 9 with his EX. You can bring Fujin with her EX. That's whatever. But this should be, as Yoshi Pasta says, this should be the last challenging challenge quest for a while. Again, you're likely going to be pulling on other things and not making them, but the characters get a little bit better overall. So these two are a little rough. And maybe Kadaj as well, if you're not playing it. But let's talk about the fight. It's an ESP doll with 2 mini ESP dolls. The Lufania orb appears at 79% of the health. You need to inflict dark or wind damage, or you need to inflict elemental weakness damage to tick up the orb. But if you hit an element that's not dark or wind, it counterattacks with a double single target Brave plus HP attack that dispels you. So the counter works even if the boss is asleep or confused, although you can get around that with which call? I think it was Clay, Dystopia. There's a call that can get around it because people were using Terra. Celeste, yeah. So with Celeste's call, you can actually get around because it's the runic ability. Edge, as well. Scott's saying Edge as well. So there are some calls that you can get around the counterattack. But generally speaking, like dark damage dealers like Vivi and Zande who do multiple damage elements, you do not want to bring them. You don't want to bring characters who are doing other dark damage. So your dark damage dealers right now are Golbez and Dark Knight Cecil, both viable options. Fujin is a wind element damage dealer. Bartz will be remember this is permanent content. Bartz will be a wind damage element character as well. Leon is also an option. A little bit harder to pull off. They are immune. They strongly resist magic. Of course, Enchant and Peril can be difficult if you're not bringing dark or wind. They're immune to lock, paralyze, HP, attack, disable, and terror. The big things on this fight, if you give them turns, the boss can bring the adds up and they can do damage. The Lufania orbs are on the adds, not on the main boss, and they only have a 10 turn count, so you have to do constant dark or wind damage, so that can be an issue. And you really just don't want, because they can do some pretty nasty auras. Stop debuff can be really bad. The recast ability is really bad. The ads can get regen, so if you launch them, that's whatever. But really, there's a few different strategies that seem to work on this. I went in with, I think, the easiest strategy, which is Terra Yang. I used Terra Yang and Garland. You don't have to give them a turn. You can just delay them and kill them. You can use Squex Airlines, Cloud, Dark Knight Cecil, and Kais. You can use Fujin, Golbez, and 9. Obviously, you can use Synergy as fine. Aranea and Garland can delay them to death. I brought Terra and Yang with just Fujin's 3-turn call. I didn't have her LD at that point, so I had 3 turns of Wind Enchant on Yang. And that was able to do it. I just had Diabolos as my summon in case I needed some extra damage. But yeah, so, I had plenty of time. Yes, and there is a TCC challenge for this. So you can check that out, DissidiaFFOO.com as well. But yeah, so this is a challenging fight. It does kind of suck, but there are different options. You can go the Terra Yang option. You can go the Squex Airline option. You can go the Synergy option. Those are all very good options. There are some other options as well if you look on the call to arms, Dissidia Info. Arrow, how did you approach
Ooh.
this?
This is for the main fight. So I used Trey and 9 and Fujin because I wanted to use 9 again. And Fujin because I didn't really have too many. I mean, I could have tried the dark option with what's his name, Leon, but I figured if I couldn't beat it with Fujin, I'd come back to this later with Leon or something, or do the Squex Airlines thing because I did have Dessel and Cloud and Kais, but I didn't have to. So I went with Synergy route this time and a Trey because Trey was very good. Oddly enough, I might as well mention this because it's actually kind of a big deal, is Wind Slash and Trey's counters interacted in an interesting way with the Lufinia orb. So the Wind Slash would trigger and raise the orb count by 2, obviously. And then Trey would follow up with his own counterattacks and increase the orb by another 2. So I don't know if that works with anybody else, but it did work with them. And so if you're looking for an easy way to raise the counter, Trey Fujin is a very good way to do it. That's about all I wanted to say. I'm going to pass it over to somebody else.
There, of the 77 video submissions on the call to arms, there's currently no Leon clear, so may not be particularly easy. You'll also see some people bring lightning. If you bring lightning, you need Celeste's Call for that. Oh, that's how you can bring lightning in. So, yeah. Kreese, anything to add on this fight?
Not particularly. I have had 0 time to look at this fight at all, so no real comments here. The orb does seem pretty tight to work with unless you plan for it, as you mentioned. That's all I really have to say.
Hey, well, let's talk, again, if you're struggling, you can come on our Discord. We can help you out there. But it's a tough fight. It is permanent content. Obviously, both of these Lufanias are permanent content, and we're going to have Tifa to help us out here in a minute. So hold on if you're struggling. There will be more options. Going to the podcast polls, again, thank you to Quetzalma of Materiabot for this. On the Golbez banner, 7 people pitying the LD or the BT, 40 people pitying the LD, 22 people using gems, 169 tickets, 37 skipping. So most people trying to pick up Golbez for this cycle, a good investment just for the cycle. And then on the Fujin 9 banner, only one person
Did you skip the Hope banner?
The Hope banner, there's a couple people actually going for this. 2 people doing the BT, 3 people using the LD, 1 person using gems, 36 tickets, and 226 skipping. That's what you should do on that banner.
Just want to make sure you got that out there.
You should skip Hope's banner like Hope's mom skipped his birthday because she's dead. And 9 Fujin, 1 person pitying Golbez BT, 11 pitying an LD. I don't know which one. I assume 9. 6 people using tickets, 118 using. It's like the first 10 minutes of the game. Come on. It's not come on. That's not spoiler territory. And sure it is, but I apologize. I shouldn't say things about if you've been listening to the show, you already knew Hope's mom's dead. And 105 skipping. So there you go. Go check out the podcast polls for future polls and let us massage your kale for you. Oh, that's a different conversation from a different... I hit the wrong button because I was looking for podcast questions. There's not a lot of them. So if you have a question, you can use your channel points and redeem a question tonight. So Zoe says, what future BT cycle are you most looking forward to? For content, characters, anything you want. Arrow, what BT cycle are you looking forward to?
That's coming in the future. I mean, I'm excited for Bart's. I hope I get his BT. That would be exciting. But if you want, further in the future than that, Machina, duh. I'm like super hype. When that got announced, I was like, see guys, I was right all along. It was coming. And it met all the hype I had for it in the world. So that's my most hyped one in the far, far flung future. I hope I get Bart's BT though, in the meantime.
I'd say the burst cycle I'm most looking forward to in like the next 1 to 3 months is probably Bart's. And that's just because of character aesthetics. That's it. I like Bart's. He's always been a character that I've enjoyed having in the game. He's one of my favorite protagonists in the series, next to Zidane and Lightning. Just because he's one of the more cheerful. I know Lightning isn't cheerful. I like Zidane and Bart's because they're cheerful protagonists. So yeah, I'm looking forward to him coming out. So that's my choice for this question.
Yeah, Silo's asking how many subs for Mark to chase El Nacho BT. Well, gift 40 or 50 and I'll see.
That's still a ways away.
I
You're
have,
gonna have to wait for
I
him
have
to
no
decide.
desire. We might be talking about Palom for me because I am planning to skip Palom. So that would be the next one if you want to make me
Palom is in the Bart cycle.
Yeah, if you want to make me do something, probably Palom will be the next one to think about. But yeah, I'm not particularly caring about that. You know what BT cycle I'm excited about? Renoa, because Renoa's getting a BT. Woohoo! Sometime in the future, and that's all I care about. So my favorite...
Are you certain about that?
Oh yeah, that is official. Yeah,
they did announce official. That. Okay.
Yeah. All of the Dissidia NT characters are getting BTs. So yeah. Oh yeah. No, that is yeah.
So that means Snow's getting a BT.
Yeah. Everybody in NT is going to get a BT.
Hey, yep. I'm going to look forward to Snow's then.
Yep. So so we are excited about Renoa BT and yeah. Transient memory saying Mark pretending he's going to skip any banner. That's true. That's true. Hey, Pikachu has a great question for us. Which Final Fantasy 15 character won't let you park illegally? Which Final Fantasy 15 character won't let you park illegally?
I don't know.
Chat? Anybody? Which Final Fantasy 15 character won't let you park immediately?
I mean,
chat is saying Prompto, Gladio, Arden, Regace, Prompto.
Oh, Prompto makes the most sense.
Well, I mean, but really, guys, in the game, Ignis is always controlling the car. I always let him anyway. I'm too lazy to drive.
Oh, hey.
You're right. Prompto does make the most sense.
Raylos Pendragon. Now that OG, Duodecim, and NT are confirmed, who are the top 3 BTs you are looking forward to? Renoa, Vincent, Laguna. There you go.
Is Vincent in any of those games?
But he's getting a BT. We know it. It's going to happen.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
He's the star of his own game, though. Well, I guess I'll answer. Since it seems like they're trying to do every pro tag, I'm really hoping Yuri will get a BT. It's speculation for me, but I really hope he'll get one. Otherwise, I guess out of the ones that we know for sure, Kane. Oh man, maybe they'll finally make him. Well, no, he's actually pretty good now with LD, but maybe he'll get another rework, and then he'll just be like all over the place, crazy damage dealer. That would be pretty hype. I guess that's out of the Dissidia cast. I don't know. Laguna doesn't love me in this game, so I would say him, but he doesn't love me, so I only got 2 guys. Sorry. Camlanot might be interesting. Justice for Camlanot. So he got robbed of that BT at first, guys, with El Nacho. I could not believe they did that, but he's going to get one.
Are we picking bursts for characters who don't have bursts in Japan yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we know which ones are going to kind of get one, but then
Sarah.
It's hard to say for sure she'll get one, but she seems like
she will. She was a protagonist in 13
That's
too.
True. That's true. I know Yuri for me is like a speculation, but he is a pro tag, so there's a chance.
Look, if Vincent is getting a BT, Sarah's getting a BT.
That's true. That's a good point. And Zach's supposed to get one. Oh, snap. That's going to be my third. Zach, I almost forgot. Dude, that would be so hype. I can't wait for that one because they've already confirmed that one too. So, Zach.
At
That will
some
be
point,
nice.
everyone will get one, so that's fine. I mean, that's the next progression. Be like, yeah, who cares? Everybody can have one. And then we'll get another type of weapon. We already will have another. We'll have ultimate weapons, but we'll have another pull weapon, another gotcha weapon. We will
Gilgamesh.
need
Gilgamesh BT.
Papa Lamo. Also dead. Spoilers. Hey, well, thank you all. If you have questions for us, you can go onto our Discord to podcast questions, and you can let us know. We are going to be taking next week off. I am technically on vacation, and I'm not going to be around here, and so we're going to take next Thursday off, and that's okay. When we come back, we're going to talk about Kadaj's event on the 7th, Bart's LDBT and the Heretics events on the 13th, Edward's LC with Palom on the 16th, the summer event, which we assume might have Galuf LD, and on the 18th, and then Boss Rush with Tifa on the 24th. So please, until then, if you'd like to support us, if you're listening on your favorite podcast apps, give us a review. Follow us on Twitch and give us a sub if you'd like. Join our Discord, tccpodcast.com, for all our social media links, Facebook, Twitter, Discord. There are some Nitro boosters there. Appreciate that as well. Like, sub on YouTube, and just continue to support us. Arrow and I will be streaming I Love You, Colonel Sanders tomorrow. So 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time, so 1 hour past when we normally do the show. And we're going to have a lot of fun with that. And so come hang out with us then. If not, maybe I'll have some videos over the next week. Maybe not. I don't promise anything because of vacation. You can check out some VODs of me doing 9 and hanging out on 9 LC and then Resident Evil Village last night as well. Those are on Twitch. And then, friends, thank you, Arrow. Thank you, Crease. This has been episode 155 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded June 3rd, 2021. I'm Mark, and I wish you all the best luck. We'll see you in 2 weeks for episode 155 or 56 plus 1. We're at 155. You add 1 is 156. That's how math works. This has been your math podcast. All right, I'm cutting the stream.